Now, the next thing I want to talk about is something that is very annoying. It's very frustrating to hear this news today. Square Enix and PlayStation and Crystal Dynamics basically came out and said that, hey, Spider-Man will be added as a character to Marvel's Avengers, which is releasing later this year, but he is going to be exclusive to PlayStation. And for once, the internet seemed to agree on something, but on Reddit, where it is also a bit of a cesspool sometimes, people on the Xbox subreddits and the PlayStation subreddits are almost universally agreeing that this is a bad move. People on both sides of the fence aren't happy about this move. Me personally, when talking about exclusivity, I'm okay with exclusives. I am okay with console exclusives when they're entire games. You know, the first party exclusives are what is used to drive sales of hardware. So when Sony has things like Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, The Last of Us, the Uncharted games, they're all IPs from studios that they own usually. Sometimes they're just exclusive to that console. If you want to play that game, you have to buy that console. Xbox has their own number of exclusives as well. Gears of War, Halo, of course, with Xbox that you can also play these on PC, but both sides have their exclusives. Then you move on to timed exclusives. This is one that I don't like, and I'm not as happy with it as I am with just straight out exclusives. But a timed exclusive might be something like a DLC or a game is on a specific console for a certain amount of time. An example of this would be PUBG. When it first came to console, it was a console exclusive for Xbox, and then I think a year later it launched on PlayStation. On the other side of the coin, Control, which came out last year, very good game by Remedy, absolutely loved it. They had a DLC come out called The Foundation, but it came out in, I think, February or March for PlayStation, and it came out in June for Xbox, so it was another timed exclusive DLC. So timed exclusive, they're okay as well, in my mind. I'm not that upset about them. What I do get upset about is console exclusive DLC. This is where I just hate exclusivity. This is where you have a game that is a third-party game. Marvel Avengers is a third-party game, meaning it is not owned by either Microsoft on the Xbox side or Sony on the PlayStation side. This game is coming out on both consoles. What I don't like is them then saying, hey, here's a piece of DLC that you can only play on one console. These games will be the same price at launch. You will pay $60 for this on Xbox, you will pay $60 for it on PlayStation, and PlayStation is going to get more content than Xbox. That's where I don't like these kind of exclusivity deals. And I am a Sony fan. I have a PlayStation 4, I like PlayStation, I love their exclusives. Those exclusives are the reason I have a PlayStation 4. But you have to admit that Sony has a bad habit of plucking these console exclusive DLCs or exclusive modes and keeping them from other platforms for themselves. I believe Destiny 2 had an exclusivity deal for an exclusive strike or an exclusive raid with Sony. That was content that would only ever came to the PlayStation side of it. And the name of the mode escapes me right now, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare that came out last year had an entire mode plucked from the game and made exclusive just to the PlayStation side of it, and Xbox players would have to go without. That may have been timed, I'm not entirely sure, but it's just a practice where it's these modes, it's these little things, these character packs or something being made exclusive to one side and not to the other. And I've seen a lot of confusion about this as well. People saying, well, Sony owns Spider-Man. They have the Spider-Man video game that came out on PlayStation 4. They own the licensing to Spider-Man. That's not actually true. Spider-Man is an exclusive game to PlayStation. Yes, PlayStation did buy Insomniac, so it is a first party, but they do not own the rights to Spider-Man the character. They work that out through a licensing agreement with Marvel, Disney, whoever. Because Spider-Man has appeared in other games. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which was a Switch exclusive, has Spider-Man in it. In all the Lego Marvel games, which are on all consoles, has Spider-Man in it. And now we get Marvel's Avengers coming out in September, I believe, and we get to learn that, hey, PlayStation can play as Spider-Man post-launch. It's not going to be available at launch, it's coming out early 2021, they said. But PlayStation can play as Spider-Man. PC players and Xbox players, we don't get him. This is an absolute shit move, in my opinion. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Xbox hasn't done the same thing, where we have exclusive modes on this side that don't make it to PlayStation. I believe just in the game showcase in July, they showed Tetris Effect Connected, I believe it was called, and there's an exclusive mode in there that is only going to be on Xbox apparently. It's not going to be anywhere else. PlayStation isn't getting that, despite the game already being available on PlayStation. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Xbox doesn't do it. But I also remember back in, I think it was 2017, there was a great interview with Phil Spencer where he was talking about how he actually doesn't like platform exclusive DLC. And when we talk about platform exclusive DLCs, we're not saying exclusive games, first or third party. Exclusivity is good for competition, but exclusive DLC. It would be as if Borderlands 3 came out and said, hey, we're releasing 4 story DLCs. The first 3 you can get on any console, but the 4th one you can only get on this specific console. Or another example, Rocksteady is long rumoured to be making a Suicide Squad game, which I believe was confirmed. But imagine if that Suicide Squad game came out and they said, oh hey, here's the roster of characters you can play. Oh, but Joker and Harley Quinn, you can only play those if you buy an Xbox. It would be something like that. That is a terrible exclusivity deal for everyone involved. It makes the people that get those characters feel entitled, and it makes the people that don't get them feel like they're missing out, which they are missing out, and they would have paid the same price for this video game. But like I was saying, back in 2017, Phil Spencer gave an interview and he basically was saying, people always knock me on this, I've been on record, I don't love the idea or practice of us paying so other platforms can't play or use a certain gun in a game or do a certain level. I know that I say that and Xbox history, DLC exclusivity windows with Call of Duty, I understand the fingers are pointing right back to Xbox. I can only be who I am, it's not the best PR answer, but I don't like that. And I'm not one to really like it either. I don't like this exclusivity of little things like this. If they were going to do this, see, I wouldn't even be upset if the Avengers game was exclusive to PlayStation or exclusive to Xbox, because I'm okay with exclusives if it's the entire game. I'm not okay with getting a chunk of the game taken out and said, you can only take that chunk, you can only play this chunk of the game if you're on this platform that paid us a bunch of money to do it. That's what I don't like.